Hello everyone, let us continue with the topic hepatotoxicity which we had started in the last lecture. We have covered the normal anatomy and the physiology of the liver, and also we have covered the types of liver injuries or the types of hepatotoxic cities which can be produced by the drugs along with the examples. Now in today's lecture we shall cover the mechanisms of hepatotoxicity. So what are those different mechanisms by which several chemicals or drugs can induce the hepatotoxicity? So also we shall cover the prominent examples of hepatotoxicants. Okay, some of the important examples which can produce the hepatotoxicity. So we will see the individual examples with the mechanism, how they are exactly producing the hepatotoxicity. Now to start with the mechanisms of hepatotoxicity. So basically there are four mechanisms by which the hepatocytes may be damaged. Okay, so either derangements may be produced, or there may be cell death or necrosis which may be produced by several mechanisms. Okay, so the first mechanism is lipid peroxidation. The second one is irreversible binding to the macromolecules of the hepatocytes. Then the next mechanism is the loss of calcium homeostasis, and the last one is the immune reactions. Now we shall cover individual mechanisms of hepatotoxicity in detail. The first one, that is lipid peroxidation. Okay, so this is quite common, which leads to the increase in the oxidative stress. Okay, so because of the oxidative stress, it may result in production of certain reactive molecules which will induce certain cascade of reactions which will result in the damage to the liver. Okay, so basically this particular process starts with generation of the free radicals within the liver. Okay, now there are certain substances, say for example carbon tetrachloride. We have seen that it has reflected many times. The carbon tetrachloride, it is quite common in producing the hepatic injury or liver injury. So it is also used as a common laboratory tool also to induce the hepatotoxicity in the laboratory animals as well. Okay, so such type of chemicals, in this case the free radicals, these are the breakdown products of these particular chemicals as a result of metabolism by the cytochrome P450 enzymes. So we have seen that liver, it is the major metabolizing enzymes, and a lot of metabolizing enzymes, specifically the cytochrome P450, are present in the liver. Okay, so such type of enzymes, when they act on certain chemicals, they generate the free radicals. Okay, so these are the breakdown products or the metabolic products or the metabolites of such chemicals which may interact with the cells and which may result in the damage. Now there are certain other cases also which result in disruption in the oxidative metabolism within the cells of the liver. So as a result of this, again reactive oxygen species may be produced, which in turn will produce the cellular damage. Okay, now these free radicals which are formed, this one of the most common type of damage which is produced by these free radicals, which are produced as a result of either metabolism of certain chemicals or disruption of the metabolic processes of certain chemicals. So these may result in lipid peroxidation in the membranes, okay, within the cell, that is the organelles which are present within the hepatocytes. Okay, membrane bound organelles. So in their membranes they will result in lipid peroxidation. Okay. Now let us see what exactly happens in the lipid peroxidation. So what is that process? How exactly it is producing the cellular damage? Now this lipid peroxidation, it occurs when these free radicals which are generated by the metabolic processes of certain chemicals, a disruption of the oxidative metabolism. So such type of free radicals, they will attack the unsaturated bonds of the fatty acids, okay, particularly those which are present in the phospholipids. So the free radical which reacts with the fatty acid carbon chain, it will result in abstracting the hydrogen from them. So as a result of this removal of the hydrogen, the fatty acid carbon, it is converted into a radical. Okay, so with this rearrangement of the double bonds in the fatty acid carbon chain, so as a result of this, it will result in formation of the radicals. Now this carbon radical in the fatty acid, it will react in turn with the oxygen in a series of reactions, or a number of reactions will take place to produce a lipid hydroperoxide, okay, and a lipid radical is generated that can in turn react with other fatty acid carbons. Okay, so this lipid peroxidation which is initiated, it then becomes a chain reaction. Okay, so initially the fatty acid carbon chain is affected, so that the double bonds are affected. Hydrogen is abstracted, it gets converted into a radical, that free fatty acid carbon which is getting affected, it turns out to be a radical. This in turn will react with the oxygen in a series of reaction, and it will result in production of lipid hydroperoxide, okay, and a lipid radical. So this in turn will start reacting with the other fatty acid carbon, so it becomes a chain reaction. So this particular process will continue, resulting in the fragmentation and destruction of the lipids. So lipids will get damaged over here, and we all are aware that phospholipids in the membrane, they are quite important, right? So as a result of this lipid peroxidation, it will result in loss of membrane function, because the phospholipids, which are the major component of your membranes, it is getting disrupted. Okay, so as a result of this, the membrane functions will be lost. Okay, now these reactive products which are generated as a result of this lipid peroxidation, this can, apart from interacting with the membranes, it can also interact with certain other components of the cell as well. Okay, so this could be the additional mechanism how it can contribute towards the toxicity. Okay, so there are few examples which are quoted over here, chemicals which are resulting in the lipid peroxidation. These include halogenated hydrocarbons, example carbon tetrachloride, chloroform, bromobenzene, tetrachloroethane. Okay, then alcohol, that is ethanol, isopropanol, hydroperoxide such as butyl hydroperoxide, then herbicides such as paraquat, or even certain other substances like acrylonitrile, cadmium, cocaine, then iodoacetamide, chloroacetamide, sodium vanadate. These are some of the examples which are responsible for lipid peroxidation. Then coming to the next mechanism, that is irreversible binding to the macromolecules. Okay, now there are certain chemicals or hepatotoxicants which will be metabolized, okay, and further it will get converted into chemically reactive metabolites, which in turn will start binding towards certain cellular macromolecules, and this binding will be irreversible in nature. Now the macromolecules to which they generally bind include mostly the proteins. So the proteins which are present in the hepatocytes, they will start binding to such proteins, so their functions may be lost. Even in certain cases, they may even bind to the lipids or even the DNA. So as a result of this, the lipids may get damaged or the DNA may get damaged. So as a result of this, either the cellular function will be lost, or the cell may even undergo the necrosis, that is the cell death will take place. Now the examples of such type of chemicals which can bind irreversibly to the macromolecules, these include the reactive metabolites which are produced by the acetaminophen, that is the paracetamol or bromobenzene, then carbon tetrachloride, then chloroform, cocaine and tetrachloroethylene. Okay. Then the next mechanism is loss of calcium homeostasis. So we have seen in the earlier lecture that there are several membranous structures, or there are various membrane bound structures which are responsible for maintenance of the calcium homeostasis. Okay. The endoplasmic reticulum or the mitochondria, so they are involved in the maintenance of the calcium balance or the calcium homeostasis within the hepatocyte. So once this is disrupted, again it may result into hepatotoxicity. So this already we have covered under the types of liver injury also. Okay, so calcium, it is distributed across this membranes in a specific proportion. So the cell membrane, it helps in maintaining this concentration of the calcium within the cell, okay, at a particular level. Mostly the high level of calcium is maintained extracellularly. So this plasma membrane, it actively extrudes the calcium ions, that is, it removes the calcium from the cell. Okay, so it removes the calcium out of the cell through this membrane. So as a result of this, it helps in maintaining the cytosolic concentration at the low level. So low levels of calcium is maintained within these organelles, membrane bound organelles. Okay, so this is very important to maintain the integrity and the function of that particular organelles. Now, as I've told you earlier, mitochondria and endoplasmic reticulum, these are mainly involved in this calcium homeostasis. This is what we have covered even earlier in the types of liver injury. Now, supposing if there is the loss in control of this intracellular calcium levels, what will happen is, if the membrane loses its function to maintain the levels of the calcium, to extrude the calcium, obviously there will be increase in the intracellular calcium levels. So there will be more amount of calcium within the cell. Okay. So as a result of this, it will result in disruption of the mitochondrial metabolism. Okay, so mitochondria, again calcium homeostasis is maintained by the mitochondria. So in these organelles, if there is increase in the intracellular calcium levels, it will result in disruption of the mitochondrial metabolism. Even the ATP synthesis which takes place within the mitochondria, that will also get affected. One more consequence is the damage to the microfilaments which are used to support the cellular structure. So obviously the cellular structures will get affected. Next consequence is the degenerative enzymes, the lysozymes, they also depend upon this calcium. So their activation within the cell will take place. So obviously they will start digesting the intracellular contents. They are supposed to get activated when there is some kind of cellular damage. So their work is to remove these damaged proteins or worn out proteins. But what will happen? Because of the disruption in the calcium homeostasis, these degenerative enzymes are getting activated. So they will start destroying the normal tissues or normal proteins also. Okay. So all of these events, these could result in the cell death or necrosis which may be caused by these chemicals. Next type of the mechanism of hepatotoxicity is immune reactions. Okay. Now immune reactions generally these are activated towards certain foreign substances. When some foreign substance enters our body will react towards it. It will act as an antigen and our body will start producing the antibodies against it to destroy that foreign substance, right? Okay, so immune response is activated within the body. Okay, so there are types of immune reactions you must be already aware of. Okay, cell mediated and humoral type of immunity which is activated. Now such type of immune reactions are also activated by certain chemicals which act as hepatotoxicants. Okay, so there are certain chemicals which when get exposed towards the liver, so here initial exposure is required. So first time when it is getting exposed, it will result in a sensitizing event. Okay, so further when the same chemical is getting exposed, upon subsequent exposures to that same drug or chemical, next time it will result in evocation of the immune reactions which may be accompanied by the hepatic inflammation. It may result into hepatic inflammation. So next time when the chemical is getting exposed, even small amount is also sufficient to trigger a reaction. Okay, and also the types of responses which are generated, these are quite rare and difficult to predict. That's why these are also known as idiosyncratic reactions. This type of hepatotoxicity, that is immune reaction towards a particular drug or chemical, this is quite difficult to demonstrate in a particular animal, or there are certain reactions which may occur upon the prolonged exposure also. Okay, so sometimes it may not be noticed in the laboratory animal. So unless and until there is widespread exposure towards that particular chemical, a particular type of hepatotoxicity may not be exposed, or it may not be known, okay, unless and until it becomes widespread. Okay, so this is the major drawback with this type of reaction, that is immune reaction. Okay, now coming to the example, the very good example for this type of mechanism of hepatotoxicity is halothane, which is a general anesthetic, which is used during the operative procedures for producing the general anesthesia, that is loss of consciousness, and to produce the muscle relaxation and all. Okay, so it's a general anesthetic. Now this particular substance, okay, it has been studied quite extensively, and it has been known to be metabolized to produce a reactive metabolite. This can bind to the proteins within the liver. Now these proteins which are bound with this metabolite, they become expressed on certain cellular surfaces, okay, to which it is exposed. So as a result of this, your immune system will start recognizing this as a foreign substance. So this has resulted in an sensitization reaction. So as a result of this, it is being identified as a foreign substance. So it will evoke an cell mediated immune response, and it will in turn result in destruction of those hepatocytes. Okay, so the surfaces of the cells which are expressing those proteins to which these reactive metabolites have bound, it will start getting destroyed, because your immune system will identify them as foreign substances and will start disrupting those cells. So this type of condition is known as halothane hepatitis. So this is quite rare to occur, but the mortality rate is almost 50%. So death may also occur in this particular case. One more example is diclofenac, which is responsible for similar type of reaction. Now this is to do with the mechanism of toxicity. Now coming to the symptoms of liver toxicity. So how you will identify that the liver is getting damaged? There are some specific symptoms which you have to look out for. Now usually the liver function test is done, AST, ALT levels are done, the bilirubin levels are checked. But apart from that, there are certain common symptoms which will indicate the liver injury. These include anorexia, that is loss of appetite. The person will not feel hungry. Okay, so they will start eating less. It may also progress in the form of nausea, vomiting, fatigue, that is tiredness, or abdominal tenderness will be seen in such individuals. Okay. Upon physical examination, it will even signify the hepatomegaly, that is swelling of the liver. Okay. So the liver will be enlarged in size. Okay. Apart from this, ascites is again one more common symptom, that is accumulation of the fluid in the abdominal space. Okay. So the abdomen, it will be appear to be distended in such individuals. Okay, abnormal distension of the abdomen will be seen. Okay, again apart from this, the patients who are suffering from this liver toxicity also will have the impaired biliary functions also, as a result of which jaundice may be developed. Okay, so accumulation of the bilirubin will take place. So bilirubin levels will be very high. So it will be presented in the form of yellowish skin, or the mucous membrane, or the eyes will become yellowish in color. So it's a quite common representing feature of the jaundice. Apart from this, pruritus, that is the itching sensation on the skin, this is quite common symptom which is associated with the jaundice. And if the liver injury is quite severe, it may even progress to fulminant hepatic failure. That is, sudden liver failure may also occur and the person may even die within 10 days also. Okay, fulminant meaning sudden to occur. The liver will fail to produce its normal functioning, and as a result of this it may even result into the progressive death of the person. Either slow damage will take place or sudden. If it is a fulminant hepatic failure, it will result in even sudden death of the person also. Okay, so progressively as the liver damage is becoming more and more severe, it will result in some additional complication. Say for example, clotting factors, okay, which are produced by the liver, these will not be produced by the liver because it is losing its function. Albumin may not be produced, or even glucose. Okay, so as a result of this, certain complications like hemorrhage, that is internal bleeding, may be seen, or hypoglycemia, that is reduced blood glucose level, may also be precipitated. Then as the damage progresses, so as the liver failure progresses, it may even start damaging the other vital organs also. Okay, so it will increase the load on the liver, it will even result in renal failure. There is sometimes there is acute renal failure also, it is known as AKI, that is acute kidney injury. So sudden failure of the renal functions may also take place. So kidneys will also start getting damaged. Also there is deterioration of the central nervous system. So it is represented in the form of hepatic encephalopathy. That is, the person may even go unconscious sometimes. Okay, so such type of complications are produced. Apart from this, accumulation of the fluids in the lung may also take place. So it may be represented in the form of nodules within the liver. Okay, so prognosis of this liver injury, it is quite poor in case if the fulminant hepatic failure takes place, and mortality rate is as high as 90%. So it is quite dangerous if it is progressing to the fulminant hepatic failure, that is a sudden hepatic failure. So these are quite common symptoms of liver failure or the hepatotoxicity. Then coming to some of the prominent examples of hepatotoxicants, we will take up these three examples: carbon tetrachloride, ethanol, and acetaminophen or paracetamol. Coming to the first one, that is carbon tetrachloride. Okay, so this is a quite common chemical which is resulting in liver damage. Okay, so it's a classical example which is metabolized and it gets activated and it gets converted into the free radicals. Highly reactive free radicals are generated. Okay, that is by the reactions with the enzymes, that is cytochrome P450 enzymes which are present in the liver. So firstly, it will convert the carbon tetrachloride into trichloromethyl radicals. This will further get converted into trichloromethyl peroxy radical. Okay, so these radicals, these are highly reactive, okay, and it will start damaging the liver, the hepatocytes. So the death will take place, that is necrosis will be induced by this carbon tetrachloride. And basically the area which is getting affected of the liver is centrilobular areas of the liver. That's because there is high amount of this cytochrome P450 enzymes in this region which are responsible for conversion of carbon tetrachlorides into reactive species. Okay, now these reactive species in turn can bind covalently towards the lipids or the proteins or nucleotides, and even lipid peroxidation may also be induced by such radicals. So these are the mechanism of toxicity by carbon tetrachloride. Next is the ethanol. Okay, so ethanol or the alcohol as a beverage people consume. So if the consumption is too high, it can affect the liver, especially if the people do not maintain the proper nutrient. It can be quite dangerous and it can result into liver damage. Now let us see how exactly ethanol is causing the hepatic damage. So basically it can induce the inflammation and necrosis. Okay, inflammation of the liver and the cell death may take place. Now this ethanol, it increases the formation of the superoxides by the Kupffer cells which are present in the liver sinusoids. So as a result of this, it is increasing the oxidative stress in the liver. So also pro-oxidants, that is reactive oxygen species, are also produced within these hepatocytes as a result of action of this CYP enzyme, CYP2E1. Okay, so it is an ethanol-induced enzyme. So ethanol will induce this CYP. It will enhance its activity. As a result, it will increase the amount of pro-oxidants, which in turn will start damaging the liver. Okay. So apart from this, the ethanol metabolic process will also affect the liver. That is, the ethanol, it gets metabolized into acetaldehyde. Okay. So acetaldehyde, which is an intermediate product, as a result of action of alcohol dehydrogenase on the ethanol, it gets converted into acetaldehyde. So this in turn will it will result in formation of the protein adducts in the microtubules. Okay. So these in turn will impair the VLDL secretion. Okay. So as a result of this, again the accumulation of these lipoproteins may take place in the liver and it may start getting damaged. And the next example is acetaminophen or paracetamol. Okay. So it is a well-known NSAID, okay, or quite commonly utilized NSAID, or the painkiller, what you can say, or the analgesic. Okay. So it is an over-the-counter medication which is quite popularly available. Okay. So it is found to be quite safe, but when it is consumed in the therapeutic doses. Overdoses may start damaging the liver, especially the centrilobular hepatic necrosis will be produced and it can be even fatal, that is, the person may even die in case if the paracetamol is not consumed within the limits. Okay, so it is always advised to consume paracetamol in a after a particular gap, and a maximum level of dose should not be crossed in a particular day. Okay, otherwise it can be fatal. Okay. Now let us see how exactly paracetamol can be toxic to the liver. Now usually this paracetamol or acetaminophen, it is metabolized by glucuronide conjugation or sulfate conjugation, and a minor pathway is also involved. Okay, that is glutathione conjugation. Okay. Now certain metabolic processes, okay, initial reactions, it will metabolize this paracetamol into a reactive species known as N-acetyl P-benzoquinonimide, that is NABQI. This is a reactive species which is generated by the metabolism of this acetaminophen. Okay. But further metabolism of this NABQI, it is dependent upon its conjugation with the reduced glutathione. Okay. So if it is further getting metabolized, it will get excreted out. But supposing if higher doses of this acetaminophen are consumed, there will be depletion in the hepatic glutathione levels. So the NABQI which is formed, it will not be further metabolized and detoxified. So as a result of this, the reactive species, that is NABQI, will start extensively binding covalently with the liver macromolecules, and as a result of this, hepatic necrosis may take place. Now to overcome this, administration of certain sulfhydryl compounds may be done, that is cystamine or methionine, or commonly used, that is N-acetylcysteine, is quite effective in preventing the liver damage or the renal failure or even the cell death. Okay. Basically how these substances act is by they stimulate the glutathione synthesis, so that glutathione levels are increased or enhanced. The ones which have got depleted, they will get enhanced. As a result of this, the NABQI which is produced, it will get further metabolized and it will get excreted out. So this is how they will be protective in nature. So this is to do with the mechanism of some prominent hepatotoxicants. Thank you.